Today, we are going to learn about the percent or the percentage. So let's have the introduction to percent. Percent is a rating in which one number is compared to 100. So, ibig sabihin, our percent means hundreds or per hundreds. And the symbol used for percent is this symbol na ating percent. So, yung percent daw natin comes from the Latin phrase percentum, which means by the hundreds, for every hundreds or per hundred. So, that's why we will notice later on, to get the percentage, we always multiply our given by 100 or our decimal by 100. Okay? So, let's have here our illustration. So, there are 25 red boxes out of 100 boxes. So, 25 out of 100 can be written as 25%. And 25% can be written as 25%. So, if you are going to ask how come that 25 out of 100 can be written as 25%, or how do we get the 25%? So, this is the things we need or we are going to learn. So, here, it shows in our example that a percent can be written as ratio and fraction and then decimal. So they are connected to one another. Why? Because percentage is, the simple percent is per 100. Therefore, if you remember, our fraction is 25 per 100 or 25 out of 100. We have 1 out of 10, 2 out of 5, and so on. Okay, so therefore, we have here the percent, ratio, fraction, and decimal example. So 25% can be written as 25 is to 100. And 25 is to 100 can be written in fraction as 25 over 100. And 25 over 100 can be written in decimal as 0.25 as we do the process of canceling or counting the zeros and moving the decimal point to the left. Okay? So now, eto ngayon yung pag-aaralan natin. So let us write this one muna into our how do we get the percentage. Okay, so in getting the percentage, we only use these three: the fraction, the decimal, and the last is the percentage, since we are going to get the percentage. Ngayon, titignan natin how do we get this 25% if we have the given na 25 out of 100. Okay, so here, let's have this one. Let's write the given that we have 25 red boxes out of 100 boxes. Okay? So, ngayon, meron lang tayong given na 25 red boxes and 100 boxes. So, dito, gagawin lang muna natin siyang fraction. So, if you remember, yung ating numerator is the first given or ang ating nakuha or meron tayo. And the denominator is the total item that we have or total number na meron tayo. So, therefore, the fraction is 25 and the original or the total boxes or item that we have is 100. Since we have written it already in fraction form, ngayon if you are going to ask, Ma'am, paano po nakuha si 25 is to 100? So, if we start writing our given into fraction, then we can write it into a ratio. So, therefore, the ratio of 25 over 100 is 25 is to 100. Okay? But no need to write it. So, this is a fraction. Okay? So, now, what are you going to do is to get the decimal of our fraction. So, if you remember the process of dividing, that since our fraction bar symbolizes a division operation, then we can divide 25 over 100. And the decimal of this one is 0.25. How do we get it easily? How do we compute it easily? So, what are we going to do is to count the zeros that we have in the denominator. So, if this is a multiple of or a power of 10, okay? Since we always use 100 in the denominator, mostly use 100 in the denominator, then we can count 0 since it is a power of 10. So we have two zeros, and then sa ating numerator, we start with the decimal point since it is a whole number, and count 2 decimal places to the left, and that would be the new decimal point. So since the decimal point is here, our decimal is 0.25. Okay, so now we have the decimal. Next to get is the percentage or the percent. How do we get the percent? From the decimal, what are we going to do is to multiply it by 100. Always by 100. Bakit siya lagi sa 100? Bakit natin siya i-multiply sa 100? Because if you remember the definition of the percent, it is per 100. Per 100. So therefore, we are going to multiply it to 100 to get the percent. Okay? Since we are going to multiply it to 100, and of course, with the strategy, count the 0 of our multiplier, and then we will move our decimal point to the right. It depends to the zeros that we have. Since we are going to use only 100 sa ating percentage, we always move the decimal points to its right 2 times. Okay? So therefore, you have 1 and 2. So our percentage is 25%. Okay? So no need, always put percent symbol when we are getting the percent or the percentage. Okay? Again, when we are dividing our number to a multiple or to a power of 10, we will move our decimal point to the left. But if we are going to multiply it to 100 or power of 10, we will move our decimal point to the right. Okay? So therefore, the percentage is 25%. So that's how we get the 25 red boxes out of 100 boxes is equal to 25%. Now, let's have another example that you can relate on. For example, on your quizzes. Jenna, let's say Jenna got 8 points out of 10 points in her quiz. Okay? What is the percentage of her score? What is the percentage of her score? Ngayon, yan yung hahanapin na ba natin, no? Ano ngayon yung percentage ng 8 points niya out of 10 points? So, what are you going to do first is to transform it into fraction form. Gagawin muna natin siyang fraction form. So, the fraction form is 8, yung nakuha, and then yung original or the total item, which is 10 points. And then, what are we going to do is to make it a decimal point. Decimal number. Since 10 is a power of 10, we have 0, which is 1. We can move the decimal point 1 to the left. So from here, it moves to the left 1 decimal place kasi meron lang tayong 1, 0 sa ating denominator. So it becomes 0.8. So ngayon, how are we going to get the percent? Percent, we just multiply our decimal by 100. So to multiply it, we count zeros. So we have 2 zeros and we move decimal points to the right 2 times. So therefore, yung 0.8 natin becomes 1 and 2. So the decimal point is here. And since we have missing digit, we put 0. And the percentage is, or the percent of 8 points is 80%. So this is how we get the percent. Now, what if we have another points in quizzes also, or in your exam? So let's say Jason got 43 points out of 50 points in his examination. So what are we going to do, or what are we going to find is what is the percentage of his score no 43 points. So first, let's have a fraction form. Fraction form. So we have the score of 43 and total items, which is 50. And now we will have the decimal. So in getting the decimal, we always get the 2 decimal places. So therefore, if we have many decimal places, we round it off into 2 decimal places, or round it off to the hundreds or nearest hundreds. So let's have our 43 over 50. So 43 divided by 50 natin, it is equal to 0.86. Okay? Since it is 2 decimal numbers, then we can proceed in getting the percentage. So what are we going to do to get the percent is just multiply it to 100. So we move decimal point to the right 2 times since we have 20. So therefore, 86% ang meron si Jason by getting 43 points out of 50 points in his examination. Okay, so this is how you solve the percentage. Let's have the last example. Anna buy 1 kilogram of chicken. The cost of 1 kilogram chicken is 150 pesos. As she buy, she gets a discount, and instead of paying 150 pesos, she pays the chicken for only 125 pesos. So what is the percentage of her discount? O ano ba yung percentage nung nakuha niyang discount? So first, fraction form ulit tayo. Fraction. So, in our fraction, we have 125 pesos and the original will be 150. And then let's divide, or let's get the decimal of 125 over 150. So, ang ating 125 divide natin by 153, it is 0.8333. I don't know how many 3 do we have. So, since we have many 3, what are we going to do is to round off into 2 decimal. Dapat 2 decimal lang siya. So, therefore, i-round off natin siya into 2 decimal. And the digit to its right is 3. Therefore, we will round down. And it becomes 0.83. Magre-remain lang siya. Next is, we are going to multiply it by 100 to get the percent. So to get the percent, multiply it by 100. We have 2 zeros. Then move decimal point to the right 2 times, 2 places. So therefore, the percent is 83%. So we have the percentage. She only pay 83% out of 100% of the cost of our 1 kilogram chicken. So this is how we solve our percentage.